little history on Tibet. This is Lucy.
Yeah, Lucy, do you want something? No. Okay. All right, good. Okay, finally. Hi, Liz. Hey, Jeff.
Good
All
morning.
right. No. No. All right. So let's begin by just settling in, getting the mind and body in the same place. Okay, so we are going to begin with what's called a bodhicitta motivation. Bodhicitta is a Sanskrit word. Bodhi means awakened or enlightened. Is this loud enough? Please let me know, like, if it's loud enough or not, like when the fan goes on. Okay, all right, good. Bodhi means awakened or enlightened, and Chitta means the mind and heart together. So that's like the etymology of the word. But the meaning is the wish to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. Sentient meaning with consciousness, so not just humans, but animals and beings in other realms as well. So the whole idea behind this practice is to be able to benefit others. We try to make that our purpose. And of course, we're working on ourselves, which is what we need to do before we can be maximally, is that a word? Beneficial towards others, right? So it's like going to school to become a surgeon before actually performing surgery, right? So bodhicitta comes from a combination of compassion and wisdom. When we think about the suffering of beings, unfortunately, it's really easy to see in human beings and animals. And a compassion arises for them, the wish that to, remove their suffering, right? But the wisdom aspect of it is the understanding that in order to really remove suffering, we need to also remove or ultimately remove the cause of suffering, right? Which is fundamental ignorance about the nature of reality, the nature of the self, which then flows into negative actions, which then result in suffering in the most simple terms. So, with this combination of compassion and wisdom, we try to make that our motivation for being together this morning. So, I don't know most of you. Um, so, I'm just going to ask you, what questions do you have for me? I can talk about anything myself, but I would prefer to talk about something you want to know, either about Buddhism or the practice or things like that. Nothing? Yes. Okay.
How about positive and negative actions of mind and body?
Wait, someone's asking a question here, Lucy. I'm sorry.
Oh, pardon. Yeah, I can't hear it
That's
yet.
okay.
People.
I know. I'm sorry. Do you want to see it? Do you want it not? Yeah. Turn around. Say hi. She's asking a question. Look at all these beautiful people. Doo-doo. Okay, what is your name again? Khaki. Okay, thanks. So, hi, Wendelin. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. There are like recovery, Buddhist recovery programs. Are you aware of that? Yeah, you go to them. Okay. And what did you find helpful and what did you find could use improvement? Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Same with you guys? Yeah, okay. So I'm assuming that my Zoomers didn't hear the question, so I'm gonna try to repeat it. So Keki wants to know uh, what we might share from the Buddhist perspective on recovery from addiction, and then I asked what your pronouns are she, her, which she asked was she. You heard what I asked because it was through a microphone, so I don't have to repeat that. Okay, and she said that the sort of being present in the body she found really helpful, and focusing on the breath, and also she couldn't think of anything that she didn't like about that. So that was her answer, right? Okay. And what is your name again? Deb? Did I ask you that already? I think I didn't even ask. I did? My God. You guys, sorry. New faces, plus I have ADHD, so I'm like, I can't remember names, so please don't be offended. I probably asked you about 50 more times. I called her the wrong name for like 6 months, so okay. I think I actually think that the teachings and the practices both have a lot to offer in regards to recovery from addiction of any kind. Um, I would say that 12-step programs are good and should be accessed. Also, therapy, if one can, I think it's great. So I'm not trying to discourage people from doing the things people normally do in that regard. Okay. I think in addition to those things, it can be really helpful to do this kind of meditation that you were talking about, as far as just being present, right? When we have addictions, um, as I understand it, I don't have an addiction to anything except food and samsara. So cyclic existence. So in a sense, we're all addicted to that. You know, I don't mean I'm not trying to belittle the experience, but we have this misperception of reality that causes us to suffer. Okay, misperception of reality in the sense that things are actually illusory and we take them as real. Okay, we solidify. We have a tendency. We have a really strong habit to kind of solidify everything around us. This is who I am. This is who you are. This is how things are. Okay. And in doing that, we become very kind of stagnant and stiff. And we're not able to flow with life, with kind of how things are. Okay. There's actually a term in the higher teachings called, in Tibetan, it's Rolpa, Rolpa, and it means like play, like uh, to play or to dance with reality. I think it's Some teachers talk about this more than others, or to play or dance with phenomena is actually the way that they put it. Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche is very good on this subject, as on most things, in my view. Um, so what do I mean by that? What do I mean by things are illusory? This is like really one of the fundamental misunderstandings that we have, okay? If we think about who we are, where we are, what are we doing, okay? We'll see that once we start to really examine that, there's really nothing to hold on to, okay? If you think about just like from the time you woke up this morning to now, that block of time, those experiences, where are they? Where do they exist? Right? We don't normally think about that. We're just like, that is this thing. I came here, I did this, then we do the same thing into the future, right? Then I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and then, tomorrow I'm going to do this. Okay? All of that is an illusion. Okay? The past doesn't exist anymore. You can't find it, right? That time from when you woke up until now will never be repeated exactly the same as it was. Okay, the moment so the past is gone, right? The future is not here. The future is an entirely a fantasy for us right now. We have no idea that we're even going to make, I mean, I hope we do. We have no idea that we're even going to make it home tonight, right? Or for those of you who are home, you can consider waking up. We have no idea if we're going to wake up tomorrow morning, right? Tibetans have a saying like, uh, tomorrow or the next life, we don't know which is going to come first. Okay. So the future isn't here. So what is it that we need to be concerned with? You might say now, the present, right? But the present is also changing millisecond by millisecond, right? The moment I say the word now, it's already gone, right? So if we are not aware of this, Pema Chodron, do you guys know Pema Chodron? Some of you might have heard of her. She's a really good teacher. She was a student of Trungpa Rinpoche also. She's written a lot of books. She's very good. Anyway, she says, everything's just passing memory, right? And if we really contemplate that, we contemplate kind of the impermanent nature of everything. That's a key into this understanding, okay? What can happen with addiction, according to just my own understanding of it, which, I admit is imperfect. Was that loud enough through the fan? A little louder? All right, that's why I have this thing, but I can't figure it out yet. All right, well, I'll do it from here. Okay, how's this? Is this better? Is that better? Okay, cool, cool, cool. Great. All right. So, regarding addictions, what I know about it from my own experience is it is, of course, there's part of it that is physical, right? That's what we're taught anyway. Yeah. Meaning it's a kind of something in the brain that happens and we sort of get off on this particular track, right? So, we can't necessarily discount that, okay? Um, but there is so much mental and emotional content in that addiction that we need to pay attention to, right? So, what do I mean by that? If, as I've read and heard, addiction is a function of trauma, largely a function of trauma, okay? combined with this whatever gene or something that kind of trips a wire in our brain, okay? The trauma that we have is something that we actually are grasping onto, okay? Please understand when I'm talking about this, I'm not invalidating trauma. I have like a mountain of trauma in my own life, so I get it, okay, and what it can do to us physically, mentally, and emotionally, all right? But this is an aspect of it where we are holding on to that pain, right? And so what happens then is we're kind of, sort of ruminating on it and turning it this way and that and trying to like erase it and get rid of it and find out like where did that come from and why is this happening and why did this happen to me? And there's a lot of like this sort of undercurrent that's more or less almost constantly going through our minds, right? This is something that we can actually work with through the practice, okay? Where we can um, learn to kind of gently, gradually let go of that, okay? It's not, it's not easy, but it is possible, okay? So what I mean by that is in our culture, generally, okay, we're given essentially two choices to deal with our difficult emotions, right? Either express it or repress it. That's like what we're given, you know? Oh, you're angry? Okay, well, we have a choice, you know? We can express it or we can push it down. And from the Buddhist point of view, both of those are problematic, right? If you take something like anger in particular, which is really easy to see, yeah? If we're expressing anger, there's a good chance we're going to hurt somebody, which we really want to avoid, you know? If we're repressing it, it's just going to come out in another way. It's going to cause some other kind of problem, right? So in Buddhism, there's a third way, which is that we don't run away from it. We don't push it down in an effort to be a good little Buddhist, right? We experience it, but with a clear mind, with like almost like a scientific approach, you know? So, for example, when I first was learning about Buddhism, excuse me, in Thailand, one of the main reasons that I went there was because I had such a problem with anger. I was a very angry person. And I remember asking the monk there, this retreat was run by a German monk and an American monk. And I was like, I don't know, what am I supposed to do with this? Like I'm just full of rage and all this kind of thing. And he said, well, next time you feel that way, just sit down and close your eyes and experience what does that feel like in your body and in your mind. Have a look at that. Drop the storyline, meaning like I'm angry because so and so did such and such. That doesn't matter in this particular case, right? So eventually I had enough presence of mind to actually do that, okay? And I still remember it. I can like just picture the whole thing. It was such a powerful experience. I just sat down, I closed my eyes, and I just looked, what does that feel like in my body and in my mind? And in my body, it was so much suffering, it's just like, I felt almost like flames kind of going up and down my torso and every very tense, in my mind, it felt like somebody had my brain in a vise, really, really unpleasant. Okay. So if we see that this thing is not serving us, then it's easier to let it go, right? But we have to experience that. Thinking about it is not enough. And this is like one of the key points that makes Buddhism fundamentally different from other philosophical or faith systems. Okay. So meditation is part of meditation is experiencing what is happening, right? Usually, or very often, we believe that things are serving us that are not serving us. They're harming us ultimately, right? So, for anger is a good example. Yeah. We have a tendency to really, grasp hard onto anger and to justify our anger and to say, yes, I have every right to be angry, but it's not serving us. It's harming us. It's suffering, you know. It doesn't mean, oh, I have to just let people walk all over me or whatever. No, we can set boundaries and, do all the things, right? But the anger, what's happening when we're experiencing anger, first, it's physical suffering for us, it's mental suffering, it clouds the mind. We can't think clearly, we're not calm, so we don't have access to like our innate wisdom if we're in a rage, right? As an example. So if we use that same approach towards the trauma in our life, uh, we can see, at least we can sort of experience like, is this anger or resentment or pain serving me or harming me, right? It's not saying like, oh, we don't have a right to feel hurt. It's not saying that at all. But to see like, I'm not sure that this is serving me, you know? And then if we see that enough times and we combine that with the teachings on things like the illusory nature of all phenomena, impermanence, and all this non-self, all this stuff, then gradually we can become free of that. Okay. And if we're working with that cause of our suffering, right? This lack of wisdom, the kind of being overwhelmed by what happened to us in the past, for example, if we're working with that, then we can gradually become free of that over time, you know. So I think that sort of, that in the teachings, it's like in order to progress on the path or in order to attain enlightenment, we need to study or hear the teachings. So first to understand like what are we trying to accomplish here, right? And then to contemplate them. This is a really important point. Okay. So that means, you know, let's say we hear the teaching on impermanence, right? And then we can easily sit or read about it, and just think, yeah, of course, everything's impermanent. Like it's not a difficult concept once we start to think about it. But the fact is that we don't actually believe that everything is impermanent. Okay. Like what I mean by that is, you know, if I can look at my phone and say, yeah, of course this is impermanent. Like if I drop it, it'll break and, eventually it'll die because Apple is the devil and I don't know what, right? Okay, right? I know intellectually this is impermanent. But if I suddenly woke up and it wasn't working anymore, I would be very surprised. I'm not even talking about the upset part. The surprise part is what I'm talking about. If I'm surprised when this breaks, then I haven't really integrated the teachings on impermanence. So the contemplation part is just kind of taking it into our life and looking around, and thinking about it and being like, is that really true? Is that true that everything's impermanent? There's got to be something that's permanent. I mean, when I first heard this teaching back in the day, I didn't think that it was true. And I was like, you guys are full of it. There has to be something. And I didn't find anything. That doesn't mean you won't find anything. Okay. It's very important. Even the Buddha taught this to um, fully examine the teachings, to have a healthy skepticism about the teachings, and not just, he had this whole sutra about it called the Kalama Sutra, Kalama, very easy to find online. It's really short, right? Essentially saying, don't believe. You shouldn't believe just because your parents believe that, your society believes that, it's written in a book, I told you that. He says, examine the teachings like you're examining gold, right? Where you test it out before you buy it that it's real gold. For me, this example doesn't really work. So usually I think of it as like a used car, right? Yeah, if you're going to buy a used car, if you're smart, you're not going to just get on Craigslist and, you know, Venmo somebody thousands of dollars and then get to their place and see that it's a heap of junk, right? You're going to really examine that before you buy it. It's the same, okay? We need to integrate these things for ourselves, make our own decisions about these things. Most things. Some things are, you know, we can't really see with the naked eye or whatever, but that's another story. So we hear the teachings, contemplate or reflect on them, and then the meditation piece, those three things. Okay. So the meditation piece is about integrating the teachings, digesting the teachings, making it part of our own experience, right? And again, we could consider like that's another form of examination. Yeah. If I told you earlier, like I found that anger, the emotion of anger so painful, maybe that's not true. Maybe for you, the emotion of anger is just fun lollipops and unicorns. I don't know. You know, you need to check that out for yourself, right? But once I saw that, for me, it was painful. It did two things. One, I had more of a motivation to work with it, to lessen it, to develop more patience because I could see directly this is making me suffer. Like I already knew I was suffering and I was also making other people suffer, right? As I always say, like nobody wakes up in the morning and it's like, "Oh, I hope I get pissed off today, right? We all know we don't like it. We all know it's unpleasant. But I think to know it through meditation is another thing, to be conscious of it, right? And because of that experience, I could have compassion for others who were angry because then I knew the suffering that was involved in that. And normally we do not have compassion for people who are angry, right? Right, out comes the judgment, the fear, whatever, anything but compassion, essentially, right? So this really um, points out like the importance of these three things: studying, uh, reflecting, and meditating. Yeah. Um, as far as addiction is concerned, I think we could treat it the same way that we would treat any suffering that we have, because we all know addiction is suffering. Even if we're not addicted to anything ourselves, we know it from other people's stories, right? It is suffering, no question, right? So we could use that suffering to develop compassion for others, right? Not to say, not to, do this trope of like, well, there's starving children in China, so you have to eat your potatoes, whatever, right? Not that, not to say like my suffering is nothing because other people are suffering more. No, you're just widening the scope to include others who are also suffering, right? And this is very, very powerful because usually when we're suffering, and I think actually now that I think of it, I think that's maybe one of the best things about like a 12-step program is you're with other people who are experiencing the same suffering and you can kind of get out of yourself a little bit. Because normally what happens when we suffer is we sort of draw in to ourselves. We kind of get this ingrown toenail situation, right? And we feel very isolated and alone and you know, we just it's not yeah, just that. When we think, oh, I'm really suffering from this addiction or from back pain or from grief or whatever it is, right? May my suffering take away the suffering of others. And you can think of others who are suffering from addiction or back pain. You can be specific or you can be just general, you know? As soon as you do that, you're widening the scope and you see, like, I'm not alone, you know? I'm not alone in this suffering. There's many beings who are going through one type of suffering or another, you know? And we can do this practice that we're going to do in a few minutes called Tonglen, practice of exchange, to help us with that. So I've done enough talking. So now we're going to do some meditation. Because I want to do Tonglen and we have the Buddha Sadhana at 11:30, I'm just going to do like, has anybody done Tonglen practice before? No. Okay. Uh, so I'm going to do like 10 minutes of mindfulness or breathing practice and then go into the Tonglen practice. Okay. Um, yeah. Okay. So let's start with the posture. So if you're on the floor, you just want to cross your legs in whatever way is comfortable for you. If you're in a chair, you want your feet flat on the floor in front of you. Then with your hands, you can either put them, palms down on your knees, okay, or palms up, resting one on top of the other like that, or with your fingers on top and your thumbs touching. Just ignore my wonky thumb, but right, like you're holding a goose egg, kind of. You can do like that. Otherwise, all the instructions, are the same, except for your legs if you're sitting or in a chair or on the floor. Next, you want to make sure that your spine is straight. This is the most important thing, all right? So not like you're at attention in the army, but just straight but relaxed. That means the back of your neck is also going to be straight, so your chin's going to tuck in a little bit. Okay? Arms are relaxed, so you're not falsely, holding them in any direction, just relaxed. The shoulders should be back a little bit, so normally what I do is just do like a back shoulder roll, and that'll kind of open up the chest. Mouth is closed but relaxed, tongue resting on the roof of the mouth. Breathing through the nose. The eyes ideally should be open, like half open. So if you look straight ahead and you look all the way down, and pick a halfway point between straight ahead and all the way down. That'll be like a relaxed, lowered gaze. If that's difficult for you for whatever reason, that's okay. You can just do it with your eyes closed. Over time, you might want to train in that because it is important. So that's how we're holding the body. And this posture is the way it is because it supports the mind in meditation, okay? Because of the mind-body connection. So now, bring your awareness to the sensation of the breath coming in and out of the nose. So you're focusing kind of at the end of your nostrils there, just noticing in a relaxed way that sensation. So let's take a moment to do that. Okay, so with the mind, what we're doing is we are trying to maintain continuous awareness of the breath, focusing in a relaxed way on the breath. Okay, and we're going to let the thoughts come and go without following after them. The thought will arise naturally, dwell for a time, and disappear on its own, being replaced by another thought. Dwells, disappears, another thought arises, dwells, disappears. What will likely happen is we'll get distracted. Some thought will arise and we'll go galloping off after it. That's okay. As soon as we realize that, simply bring the mind back to the breath. We have to do that 100 times, 100 times. Victory. We realized we were distracted and we bring the mind back. Okay. So I'm going to ring the gong to start and also to finish. We'll do that just for a few minutes. You guys on Zoom aren't going to be able to hear this. So. Now you can begin to count the breaths, counting either every in-breath or every out-breath to a total of 10 breaths. Counting is there to help us realize more quickly when we've gotten distracted, because we'll notice we lost count. If that happens, no big deal. Just come back, start again at 1. If you get to 10 without losing count, don't let that distract you. And once again, just bring the mind back and start again at 1. So please begin that now. Okay. So normally we would have a little discussion about that, but we're really short on time. So I'm going to go into the Tonglen practice. What is your name again? Troy. Troy, thank you. Okay. So this practice is called the practice of exchange. Tonglen means giving and receiving. Okay. And the point of this practice is to uh, increase our innate compassion towards others. Okay. What we are exchanging is we are taking on the suffering of others and offering them our own happiness. Okay. This is not about being a masochist or a martyr or anything like that. All right. It's just about kind of turning our usual habit on its head. Yeah. Sort of taking something that is a little extreme to deal with a habit that's very strong. Okay. Um, and again, normally I would really talk a lot more about this, but like we're a little short on time. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, I'm going to talk about it a little bit. So there's 5 stages to this practice. Okay, the first is just resting the mind. So I'll ring the gong, and then you listen to the sound as long as you can hear it, and then let the mind rest. So what that means is we're not trying to concentrate on anything. At the same time, we're not distracted. We're just kind of let the mind settle. Second is sort of working with the visualization, and I'll walk you through that. Third is we choose one of 4 types of individuals to focus on for our as our subject. Okay, that can be someone we love, someone who is neutral to us. So neutral means like we neither really like nor dislike this person, but we recognize their face. So it could be like a neighbor or your doctor or, work colleague, someone in that category. Third is someone we dislike, and that has a range. Usually it's good to start with, just someone you find annoying, whoever that might be in your life. Such a long list. Um, or the middle range is like someone that you have a difficult relationship with, right? So it might be someone you normally have a good relationship with, but you're currently fighting, this kind of thing. Or someone at work that somehow you just never like gel, okay? And the higher end of that spectrum is a person who hurt you the most. So please don't start there, okay? Because that just to jump into something like that can cause you more problems than solving anything. So please, don't do that. And then the fourth category is oneself. And this particular one I think is very helpful in the case of addictions. Okay. But I don't know if we should do it today because it's more complicated than the other ones. What do you think, Eileen? Should we do that one or should we do love? Should do self? Yeah? Okay, Eileen's the one responsible then. Not me if you're confused. Okay. So then the fourth step is we do the same process, but for all sentient beings all around us. Okay. And the fifth is just bring the mind back to the breath. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through all that, and I'm going to be a little bit speedy because we don't have that much time, but it's enough time to get a taste of it anyway. Um, we will be doing a meditation retreat over the weekend at some point in the future. I'm not sure exactly when, but if you sign up for the newsletter, really it's the best thing to do because you'll have the latest news on everything. Okay. All right. So once again, take the posture of meditation. Pardon me. Uh, okay, can you hear me? Is it loud enough? Feels like it's not loud enough now. Is that good? Huh? Little does? Okay. I'll turn it up a little bit more to account for that. How's that? Is that better? Better, better, better. Okay. Is that good? All right, cool. Okay. So we take the same posture, but in this case, if you want to close your eyes, that's fine. Okay. Because different type of meditation. Okay. So first, just again, become aware of the breath. Now I'm going to ring the gong. Listen to the sound as long as you can hear it, and let the mind rest. So now imagine in your heart center, so that's the middle of your chest, a very bright white light, like a shining star, with light going in all directions. Then consider that you're breathing in gray smoke, hot, dark, and heavy, through all the pores of your body. And all of that smoke dissolves into the white light in your heart center. Till there's not a single particle of smoke left. There's only light. Now consider that you're breathing out this white light, cool, clear, very bright, through all the pores of your body. Now imagine in front of you another you. Okay? So you're facing yourself essentially. The you that is meditating is the part of yourself that's in touch with your innate wisdom and compassion. And the you that you're visualizing is the part of yourself that is confused and in pain. So now we want to recognize your many good qualities without shyness, without embarrassment. Consider your kindness, your intelligence, the way you do your best every day to fulfill whatever roles you have in life. And if faults come to mind, that's fine. But try to see them like you see the faults of your friends and loved ones. You know they're not perfect, but you don't hate them for it. You understand they're only human, that none of us are perfect. It's the same for yourself. You want to generate the same love and compassion for yourself that you so readily show towards others. Now consider whatever way or ways you are suffering. See the suffering in the you that you are visualizing, how painful it is, how difficult, and generate compassion for yourself. The wish that this suffering could be removed, the wish that you could be happy and peaceful. And with that love and compassion in your heart, consider that all the sufferings of the visualized you take the form of gray smoke, hot, dark, and heavy. The smoke leaves the visualized you and it comes to the meditating you. And with love and compassion, you breathe in that smoke through all the pores of your body. And all of that smoke dissolves into the white light in your heart center. until there's not a single particle of smoke left. There's only light. Now you're going to offer to the visualized you every happiness, everything you need to be free of suffering, along with the wish that you attain full and complete enlightenment in this very life. And all of that takes the form of white light, cool, clear, very bright. You breathe out this white light through all the pores of your body. And when these rays of light touch the visualized you, you see all of your suffering just disappearing, just lifts off of you and melts away. And you see the visualized you breathing a great sigh of relief, feeling at last happy and at ease and peaceful. And you feel joyful for being able to do this for yourself. Now we go through the same process for all sentient beings, first visualizing them all around us, in front, as many beings as you can conceive of, stretching all the way to the horizon. To the right, same thing, countless beings all the way to the horizon. Behind, again, all the way to the horizon. And to the left, as many beings as you can imagine, all the way to the horizon. So first we want to consider how we are all the same in one fundamental way, which is that each and every sentient being wants to be happy and wants to avoid suffering. And yet we suffer nonetheless. And we want to consider our connection to all of these beings. The Buddha taught that every single sentient being has at one point or another been extraordinarily kind to us, like a loving mother caring for us. But if that is something we find difficult to imagine, that's fine. We can just consider all the sentient beings on this planet at this time. We share the planet, we share the fate of this planet, we share the air, the water, the earth itself. So then we consider the suffering of all these beings, whatever it may be, physical, mental, emotional, and their suffering takes the form of gray smoke, hot, dark, and heavy. It leaves them and it comes to you. And with a great deal of courage and love and compassion, breathe that in through all the pores of your body. And all of that smoke dissolves into the white light in your heart center till there's not a single particle of smoke left. There's only light. Then you offer all these beings without exception your own happiness, good fortune, anything at all that they may need, and the wish that they attain full enlightenment in this life. And all of that takes the form of white light, cool and clear, very bright. And you breathe that out through all the pores of your body, light going in every direction so powerfully. And when these rays of light touch all of these beings, each individually, their suffering just lifts off of them and disappears like fog in the morning sun. They feel so relieved and happy and at ease. And you feel joyful for being able to do this for them. Now we let go of the visualization altogether, gently bringing the mind back to the breath, allowing the sensation of the breath to bring and keep the mind in the present moment, here and now. Please get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those little benches that are under that red table. You can help if you want. Be great. Thanks. So now we're going to do the Buddha Sadhana. I forgot your name in the green t-shirt, sorry. Aiden, can you turn on the light there, please, behind you? Thanks. Great. Okay, I'm going to pull up the sadhana for those of you who might not have it. I'll share my screen. Just put it down in front of them. The reason I'm giving you benches is because we don't want the sadhanas on the floor. That's all. So, well, cool. I think that's it. I don't know. No, you don't need one. If you're in a chair, you don't need one. You have one. Okay. What's today? Today's Buddha Shakyamuni Day. Okay, that's good. That's good, good, good. Okay. I think that's it. I think you're good. Yeah, I think so, right? You have one? Okay. All right, there we go. Whoop, don't need that. Does anybody on Zoom need the actual, you do, sadhana? Um, oh, I'm looking at the wrong place. Okay, hold on, sorry. Okay, yeah, while we're getting set up here. All right. I'm just going to assume that some people on Zoom need the sadhana, so I'm going to share my screen with you. And so it'll be right in front of you. Okay. Once again, there's no, not trying to indoctrinate anyone. So if it's not your jam, that's fine. So we're going to say this practice, we're going to say both in English and Tibetan. Our teacher said that it's important to do things in Tibetan also because it was written in Tibetan by enlightened beings and practiced for centuries by, enlightened beings. So the words themselves have power. So that's the reason for that. We also read the small print to the best of our ability with long Sanskrit words that are difficult to pronounce. So we're just going to do our best. All right. Okay. So we're going to start from where it says Namo. Okay. Namo Guru Shakyamunaye. In the Samadhi Raja Sutra, it is said, for all who, while walking, sitting, standing, or sleeping, think of the moonlight Buddha. The Buddha is always in front of them, and they will attain the vast nirvana. And his pure body is the color of gold, utterly beautiful in every way, is the protector of the world. To visualize him like this is to meditate like the bodhisattvas. Accordingly, one should do the practice of remembering our teacher, the incomparable Buddha Shakyamuni. It is as follows. Begin by saying the prayers of refuge and bodhicitta and of the four boundless meditation. So these two prayers we're going to do once in English and twice in Tibetan because we say them each 3 times, okay? In the jewels of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, we take refuge until we attain enlightenment. By the merit of practicing generosity and the like, may we attain Buddhahood for the benefit of beings. Sangye chudan soge chonam lao chanchu padu dani kyapsu chi daigi jiso ki pe sonam ki Strola penchia sange drupa sho sange chodon soki chonam la chanchu padu dani kyapsu chi daigi jiso ki be sonam ki trola penchia sange drupa sho. May all beings come to possess happiness and the cause of happiness. May they come to be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never separate from the happiness which is without suffering. May they come to rest in the boundless equanimity which is free from both attachment to loved ones and hatred for others. Semchen tanche dewa dan dewe gyu dan dan pa gyu shi dunga dan dunga ki gyu dan dewa gyu shi dunga me pe dewa dan pa dan min da wa gyu shi Nirin chadan nidan tewe tanyon se me palanem pa gyu shi Semchen tamche dewa dan dewe gyu dan denpa gyu shi dunga dan dunga ki gyu dan dewa gyu shi dunga mi pe dewa danpa dan min dewa gyu shi Nirin chadan nidan tewe danyon se me Palanem Bhagyoshi. So the next part we do once in English and once in Tibetan. The nature of all things is that though they appear, they have no real existence. Reflect on this, and from that state, visualize the Buddha as follows. Ah, as the magical display, the union of the unborn emptiness and the unceasing manifestation of interdependent origination. Visualize in front of one in the sky infinite clouds of offerings, in the middle of which, upon a jeweled lion throne, lotus, sun, and moon, is the incomparable teacher, the lion of the Shakyas, the color of gold, endowed with the major and minor marks, wearing the 3 Dharma robes and seated in Vajra posture. Go ahead. I just lost my place. I got distracted. His right hand is stretched out in the gesture of touching the earth. His left hand, in the mudra of equanimity, holds an alms bowl filled with nectar. He shines in splendor and majesty like a golden mountain, his wisdom filling space with a plexus of rays of light. He is surrounded by infinite retinues, hosts of exalted beings, the 8 close suns, the 16 Shtaviras, and others. On those who so much as think of him, he bestows complete liberation from the 2 extremes of samsara and nirvana, the glory of supreme bliss. Visualize him as the great being who embodies all the objects of refuge. Okay, now we go back and do the Tibetan. I came a ni dan chan chung Nang wa ga me sun ju yu me sun ran dun nam ka che ching kyam se Richard Sandry Penny Dawiden Turn back soon may shagya senge ni seki do chan sandam pe chendan chugu sun so do je ki tru shu cha ye san cha 내 견신 자유년 샤드시 눈세 남세기리다 시지펜바원 예셰여세자웨카이 세계 내 찬추주송 아소겸수 거기용고 신전바사기 시시타니래 남주대와 총기 편수 왕캬그두배 다니 첸보상. If one visualizes the Buddha like this and thinks that he is actually there, then the moment one does so, wherever one visualizes him, there he will truly be, since the wisdom body of the Buddhas is not subject in any way to limits of space or time. For it is said in the sutras, for all who think of the Buddha, he dwells there in front of them. He continually blesses them and frees them from all evil. The merit accumulated through visualizing the Buddha is an inexhaustible root of virtue which will never be wasted, as it says in the Avatamsaka Sutra. Through seeing, hearing, and making offerings to those Buddhas, a measureless mass of merit will grow until all the kileshas and suffering of samsara are discarded. This compounded merit will not be exhausted. Whatever prayers of aspiration are made in front of him, they will be fulfilled, as is mentioned in the Manjushri Kshetra Vyuha, the teachings on the qualities of the Buddha field of Manjushri. All phenomena arise from circumstances and depend on the intention. Whatever prayers a person makes, they will accordingly obtain the fruit. Developing firm confidence in the truth of these teachings, recite the following. So again, once in English, once in Tibetan. Give me a second. Out of great compassion, you took care of this world of degeneration and strife and made 500 great prayers of aspiration. You are praised as a white lotus. Whoever hears your name will not return to samsara. Compassionate teacher, I submit obeisance to you. The wealth and accumulation of merit of body, speech, and mind of myself and others I offer, visualizing them as a Samantabhadra cloud of offerings. All the negative actions and downfalls I have accumulated since beginningless time, without exception, I confess each one with strong, heartfelt regret. I rejoice at the merit accumulated in the past, present, and future by the exalted beings and by ordinary beings. The wheel of Dharma of the profound and vast teachings, I request you to turn uninterruptedly in the 10 directions. Although your wisdom body, like the sky, remains without changing throughout the 3 times, according to the perception of beings, you demonstrate birth and death. Yet may you appear in the Nirmanakaya form forever. Through the merits I accumulate in the past, present, and future, in order to benefit all beings throughout all space, may I constantly gladden the King of Dharma and attain the level of the conqueror, Lord of Dharma. Through your kindness, compassionately caring, especially for us unprotected beings of the degenerate age, Whatever appearance there is of the three jewels in this world at this time is your enlightened activity. You are the only incomparable and sublime refuge. As I pray to you from my heart with total confidence, do not forget the great promise you made in the past. Care for us with compassion until we attain enlightenment. Now we go back to top of L3. Pardon me. Ning che chen pu tsu dan yi mei xin zu nei men la chen po nga gya ta pei ga ta no tsen zhe chi mi du tun ba tu che chen na cha sa lo da shen go sun ge zo long che che gu san che pei jin du mi ne bo to me ne sa di jun ma lu pa ni ne gyo pa tra pa so sha pa da so ge wa ni du sum sa na Jesu 인왕 사징야 제주기 골르ță 조주균미 제바고르서 견인왕가다브 예시고두순보이겨 메바슈무기 르체나오케지 서튼경주베수코 다드나와서 다기들숨사베 게소기가갸드로와 그나베네드 그기야보타르 내체친처제가웨 공반토파쇼 다천이메로와 근메노 투체나파 수웨카드릴레 신당주대renchen 남순키노 와지예 케이기 트레니 대체갑초순메 지푸루이체대페 니네 소담나 능키당처체보 마냐왕청주파두 투체제신사 Now, with strong, confident devotion, concentrate one pointedly on the form of the Buddha, thinking that he's actually there, and recite as much as possible the following. So this we say once in English, twice in Tibetan. Guru, teacher, Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arahat, perfect Buddha, glorious conqueror, Shakyamuni, I submit obeisance to you, I make offerings, I take refuge. Lama tumpa chumdende deshin shipa tra chumpaya tapa sope sange pe gewa shakya tupala chatselo chodu kyapsu chiyo Lama tumpa chumdende deshin shipatra chumpayan tapa supe sangepa gewa shakya tupala chatselo chodu kyapsu chi om. Pardon me. So now we're going to read the small print just before and the first sentence just after the mantra, and then we do the mantra. Next, recite as many times as is appropriate this Dharani, beginning in the mentioned in the abridged Prajnaparamita, as being the way to invoke the mind of the Buddha. Then recite as much as possible the same Dharani, beginning from Om. During all this, concentrate one pointedly on the visualization with devotion, remembering the qualities of the Buddha. So what we're going to do is we're going to say this 3 times, beginning with Teyata, and then we drop the Teyata, and then we're going to say it 3 times, beginning with Om, and then we're going to finish the mala, okay? So I'll let you know, of course. Pardon me. Yata Om Muni Muni Maha Munai Soha Te Yata Om Muni Muni Maha Munai Soha Te Yata Om Muni Muni Maha Munai Soha Om Muni Muni Maha Munai Soha Om Muni Muni Maha Munai Soha Om Muni Muni Maha Munai Soha. Then quietly, just Om Muni Muni Maha Munai Soha. Muni Muni Maha Munai Soha. Muni Maha Munai Soha. Om Muni Muni Maha Munaya Soha. So the next section, once in English, once in Tibetan. Then consider that through the power of reciting the names of the Buddha and reciting the Dharani, from the body of the Buddha shines a great light of multicolored rays of wisdom light, dispelling all the obscurations of myself and all beings, perfecting the qualities of the Mahayana path and establishing us on the level of non-returner. Tunpe kule yashe ki yosen atsope nangwa chimpe dadan sanchen panche ki driba panche se shing. Tepa chimpe nam ki yunten sushin tu ke te che mi do pe sanam pa gyu. Now please turn to page L7. We're going to say the last 4 lines on that page. Once in English, once in Tibetan. The ground is purified with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned by Sumeru, the four continents, and the sun and moon. Thinking of it as the blessed Buddha field, we offer it. May all beings enjoy the happiness of the perfectly pure Buddha fields. Idam Ratna Mandala Kamni Ratayami. Sa shi peki chukshi meto tram rirab nishi ninde gempadi sange shintu mete poayi drukanamda shina chupasho idam ratnam mandala kamniratayami. So now please turn to page L9, the bottom of that page. And I just want to point out to you in line 3, it says all the Sugatas. So Sugata means Buddha and their sons. We changed sons to offspring, right? Just so you know. So once in English, once in Tibetan. The miraculous display of the unsurpassable wisdom appears as the intentions, deeds, prayers, knowledge, love, and ability of all the Sugatas and their offspring. May all beings become exactly like them. Deshe seche kunki tuke don sepa munam kense nubetsu name yeshe gyuntu chitrawa tedra kona drukungyu shu. All right, now we are going to say the closing prayers, starting with the long life for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The first 3 long life prayers we just say in Tibetan. The 4th one we say in English and Tibetan, and then I'll let you know about the other page. Okay. Okay. I have to share my screen again. There we go. Okay. Kanri wa wei ko wei shinkan su pendande wa malu juene chenre si won den sing yam so ye shape ga ka ba tu tenge shi. So Jigme Khyentse Rinpoche and Pema Wangara Rinpoche are our main teachers. So everybody should know who the Dalai Lama is at this point. I hope. Okay. Sorry. Om Swasti Jigme Kempe Kalong Yamparu Kunkyap Se Chen Se Se Bundawa Nita Dunsan Namge No Bucho Se Che Gyawe Shai King Taksu So Om Swasti Tsela Gyamsu Chinap Tinjun Lei Unsin Takse Gyutu Pema Sangsum Nadre Gyapo Chatene Lapchanten De Shetun Daige Sho. We pray for the good health of the lamas. We pray for their precious lives to be long. We pray for their activities to spread and increase. May we be blessed, never depart from them. Lama kunkam sampo sawadeb chotu kose ringwa sawadeb trine tashinge ba sawadeb lama dandre wa me pa chingi lo. So I want to just explain this next prayer at the top of the other side that starts with by this merit. So merit is essentially like good karma, can say. And the normal way that works is that anything positive we do comes back to us individually as some kind of happiness, right? So what we're doing here is we're sort of directing the energy towards all beings. So it doesn't mean we don't receive it, but we're sharing it with everyone. That's the idea. May all attain omniscience. Omniscience here is a synonym for full enlightenment. May defeat the enemy wrongdoing. So again, that's related to karma. Just understanding our negative acts bring suffering. That's the real enemy. From the stormy wind, birth, old age, sickness, and death, these are considered the 4 main streams of suffering in the human realm. From the ocean of cyclic existence. So cyclic existence, usually it's called samsara, which is a Sanskrit word. It means, this round of birth and death and all these different forms that we've been on since beginningless time. So it's called an ocean because it's vast and deep. May I free all beings. So we're sort of also ending in a way with bodhicitta. Okay. So this one we say once in English and once in Tibetan. By this merit, may all attain omniscience, may defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of cyclic existence, may I free all beings. Sonam di tamche sipani, tobne ne pedranam pamche shing, ke gana chi balun trupayi, sipe sole droa sho. The remaining three we say just in English. May bodhicitta, precious and sublime, arise where it has not yet come to be, and where it has arisen, may it never fail, but grow and flourish ever more and more. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. Ever absorbed in the display of divine forms and primordial awareness, appearance, sound, and perception in the state of divinities, mantras, and dharmakaya, may I, inseparable from the practice of the profound and secret great yoga, attain within the essence of mind the state of one taste. Now, this 100-syllable mantra is meant to, sort of purify any mistakes we may have made. So we're just going to say that once. Vajra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Tenopa Tishtadrido Me Bhava Sutokayo Me Bhava Supokayo Me Bhava Anurakto Me Bhava Sawasidi Me Prayatsa Sawakama Sutsa Me Chitam Shriyam Kuru Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajrama Me Munsa Vajri Maha Samaya Sattva. So, I'm so sorry. Okay. So before you go, I want to first thank you so much for coming this morning. Everyone here, everyone on Zoom. It's great to see so many people here. I love it. And then I just want to, make a couple of announcements, and ask you a question, if I may. So, this question, okay, all of you guys on Zoom I already know. How did you find out about us? This is my question. Starting with, what's your name again? Daniel. Great. Your therapist turned you on to it? Oh, that's nice. Oh, okay. Uh-huh. Oh, nice. Good therapist. And the same with you? Yeah. Good old Deb. Thanks, Deb. Mitch, I think I asked you before, but can you tell me again? Sorry? No, but how did you find out about us? Okay, so when you searched online, you found our site, or you found it through, like, we're trying to figure out if people are finding us through a community bulletin boards. Okay, okay, great. Thank you. To where? On 98th Street? Oh, really? That's what I felt. I'm like, I know this lady from a long time ago. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, you're the line in blue. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Uh, Tina. Yeah, yeah. She did a class with me a long time ago. Buddhism for Mothers. Yeah. So it just there's a book called Buddhism for Mothers, and she was in that class way long time ago. And I saw her, once that class was over, I saw her, I don't know, maybe the next year or something, and she was like, "My kids keep saying, Mommy, when are you going to do that class again?" Apparently, she was a lot nicer when she did the class. And oh, you did? Wow, awesome. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, that's good to know. Um, okay, so I also just wanted to let you know we don't always do the Buddha sadhana as part of the sadhana meditation. It's just it happened to fall on this day. So when that happens, then we do the Buddha sadhana. But we do the Buddha sadhana together 3 times a month. It's the full moon, rising half moon, and the new moon. Um, we are normally on just on Zoom for that. So you can find everything on our website. If you go to, I think it says practice, and then it'll say Buddha sadhana. And then on that page, you can download the sadhana and the closing prayers and stuff. I have to update the closing prayers, but we're getting there. So if you want to join us for that, usually on weekdays, it's 7:30 to 8. And on the weekends, it's 11:30 to noon. Then the first Sunday of the month, of every month, we have family meditation. So if you have kids or families with kids, that's a good time for them to come. That's 10:30 to 11 with Miss Sheila. I'm sure it usually goes over 11, right? What do you say the average time is that it is? Like 10:30 to 11:30 probably? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, right. So there's a brief meditation and then like some kind of something people can do at home with their family and then crafts and snacks in there. um, uh, what was I going to say about that? Once a month. I don't remember. So, um, yeah, so you might want to check that out. What was I going to say? I don't know. Anyway, so that's happening. So that's Sheila. So we don't have group meditation. I mean, sometimes people come just kind of out of habit and then Sheila deals with it. So, if you find yourself here, that's fine. Don't worry about it. And then, is that already? Okay. Oh yeah, okay. So that's nice. You can just come and hang out with, do some crafts. Um, uh, so as I said, so we actually have um, this seminar that meets once a month on Saturdays. Usually it's the fourth Saturday of the month, and that is only on Zoom. And that's from 10 to 12 with an hour break, and then 1 to 3. So in that class, we're studying this book, The Way of the Bodhisattva, okay, which is a really great book. Um, if you would like to join that, um, this month is the last time that you can join it because we've already done one class. If we do two, then you'll be kind of too far behind. So if you do want to join that, just send us an email and we can work it out with you. And then there's the class this Wednesday, which I already mentioned, and then the 6 week course, which starts next Wednesday. Okay. So I want to just let you know, because sometimes I think people miss it if they're reading too quickly on the website or whatever. We will always work with you on pricing if you can't afford. We always offer a sliding scale, and then on top of that, we'll work with you on price. So I never want pricing to be a reason somebody doesn't come to something. Okay. And as I said, we're going to do like a weekend retreat, another class, we're always doing something. And then we also have Lama visits from time to time. So, we don't have anything scheduled right now because visa issues and, all that kind of stuff, but we're working on that. And then, is everybody in the Lakewood area? Yes? Yes? Okay. All right. Do you want to ask maybe or help when putting up these cards? Yeah? Can give each person a few if you want to bring them in. Thanks. So we have these advertising postcards for the class. And if you don't mind taking just a couple and maybe just putting them up on a bulletin board or something when you're in Lakewood. We did cover some places already. Um, but you know, if you see one, obviously just don't put another one up there. Yes. That would be fantastic. Yeah, yeah. So just give each person like 2 or 3. We don't have that many, except give Kaki like more, like 5 or 6, because they're going to put it on the table for the recovery group. That's the Buddhist recovery group. Okay, give them to Deb. Give her 10 in this case. Awesome. Yeah.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Palmo. Oh, may I
Yes,
ask you
Liz.
a quick question about the Joyful Wisdom class? Do you want us to read the book prior to the class, or are we breaking it down during the class?
It would be good if you could read like the first chapter before class. Let me just look here. Another thing. Yeah, I would advise to read the first chapter. I'm going to try to get out, send all the questions to everybody who has already registered, you know, this week, hopefully Monday or Tuesday. Pardon me. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, you're welcome.
looking forward to that class.
Sorry, what?
I'm looking forward to that class.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
but
No, I'm laughing at myself because I don't have enough to do because I'm also doing the seminar.
I know you're doing the seminar and the intro class and the Monday class.
I don't know. I'm
She's
just a glutton
she's a
for
fan.
it. I
Okay.
enjoy it. I really do.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Please be careful if you're driving. Don't know what it's like out there right now. Thank you so much, Zoomers, and I'll see you when I see ya.